Protests have started in this city. Demonstrators are back in Union Square. That's where we find New York One's Ron Lee with more. Ron.
Hey there, Dean. Well, we've been in Union Square for quite a bit of time, and we got here around 3 o'clock. There was a rally that went very peacefully. The group that was here, they marched all over the place. They eventually got back here. They've dispersed, but then things got a little bit more intense. Now, just a short while ago, we had a lot of police running over to 15th Street, and we are hearing that there was a police vehicle. It's hard to see right from here, but a police vehicle that was smashed out. Now, one of the gentlemen who actually caught some video of that, Tyrone, can you just come over here for a second? You were just over there.
Yes,
what
sir.
did you see?
Essentially, I mean, yes, we've been very peaceful all day. A lot of cops lined up against here, and essentially we're agitating across. And unfortunately, I mean, these kids are upset, you know what I'm saying? And we started with one water bottle kind of getting thrown towards one of the little police shuttles. And obviously now a window got broken. And then what occurred is one of the officers got upset and started spraying mace. Obviously, all the other officers are going to back him up. I can understand that. But that turned into a very big situation here where now the police vehicle is destroyed and a number of people have been taken into custody, and we're working to try to get them to find out where they're headed so we can get them bailed out. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
At this point, I don't know if this is shaking you up to the point where you think maybe now's the time to go home. What are you thinking?
Listen, I have been an avid quarantiner. Actually, as a matter of fact, I was in Texas until I found out about this occurrence, essentially, and felt like it was a need to be here. Essentially, we have to do something, and we have to be heard. And I don't know if there's a better way anymore. Honestly, kneeling, asking, negotiating, praying, everything, we've been doing that for a very long time. It's getting to a breaking point where going home almost seems like a betrayal. Your friends not saying anything almost feels like a betrayal. Like something has to be done. So me feeling I can't give up on the future just because it's inconvenient. I just can't.
It's around earlier, around 3 o'clock, there was a rally that was here. It lasted about an hour, and then it continued on to other parts of Manhattan. It was very peaceful. A lot of the people were like, you know what, I think we got our message across. At this point, do you think that the message gets across, or does it get diluted because people are focused on the violence?
Well, as you can see, it's still very peaceful. I mean, the unfortunate part is this is what happens a lot of times, right? Something gets agitated, and then it gets blown out of proportion. But even as you view right now, it is still extremely peaceful. It's always been peaceful. This is the third essential wave of this today. 3 p.m. we were here. There was a wave that went down Broadway. Now we're here now, this wave. All of this is extreme. You are witness right now. It's all very peaceful. The unfortunate part is I can understand the cops getting frustrated and people yelling at them. Essentially what that cop did, had he not taken forceful action and decided to spray pepper spray, then all of this doesn't even happen. If he just stands his post, essentially. So, I mean, we have to feel like they're protecting us, not as antagonizing us at the same time.
I've seen a lot of people being very in your face to the officers, yelling at them, and I've seen a lot of the officers just looking the other way, trying to not engage.
I agree.
And you've seen that today?
Yes, and that's my point. I would really like to commend a lot of these officers. That's my whole thing. I can't imagine what it's like to be, especially an officer of color, because for me, I have family that are officers of color, and I understand the dilemma. You have a job to do. We want you to do your job. I would love to be able to trust that police have our best interest at hand. The problem is my experience in life does not uphold that. And so, yes, I commend a lot of these officers. They're doing a great job. But unfortunately, like that officer, when one officer does something unfortunate, much like this news today, we don't get to focus on the good officers. But if the good officers don't point out when these bad officers do what they do, then we're in the same place. We don't go anywhere, we don't progress, and unfortunately those good cops get abused the way they are, and we are getting abused, me in my life. I can't even begin. I live right here in an expensive building. I make a lot of money, and guess what? When I walk out the door, I get treated exactly the same as anybody else, and that's why I cannot go home. It's not time for me to go home because guess what? Somebody else is out here having the same experience. Yes,
Tyrone,
I want to commend the NYPD for the ones who have done a great job. I swear, I cannot put in words how much it moves me to see them take that abuse, even though they didn't necessarily do anything, but they have to understand that that's a fraternity as well. And if you do not speak out against the people that you see doing wrong, then you're not helping us either. And I'm so sorry. You don't deserve it, but we don't deserve it either.
Tyron, thank you for sharing with us. And if you stay out, just be careful. You know,
absolutely.
because there's plenty of people here doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then it's very easily to get caught up with the wrong group.
You are correct.
At the wrong time. Okay, so yeah, so things have calmed down a little bit. You know, things happen so quickly out here. It goes from being calm, and then it goes to being sirens all over the place, and then you hear about vandalism involving police vehicles, and now it's kind of clearing out. So, you know, we're hearing bad things happening in Times Square as well. So we'll try to keep you. I don't know what he's talking about, but Dean, we'll throw it back to you.
Sure will.
So, Ron, very quickly, how many people would you say are around you? We know in cities across the country right now, there are a lot of protests, some violent protests. We know down in Miami at a police precinct, there's a big fire going on, and a lot of cities have actually put in orders where people cannot be on the street after 8 o'clock. How many people in your area now?
You know, right now, there were a lot of people earlier. Like when multiple groups that were not protesting together, they all descended upon Union Square. And so they were here together for about an hour or so. They were blocking traffic on 14th Street they were doing sit-down protests. And eventually they decided to move on. It's hard to know sometimes where these folks are going next. You just have to follow them. So some people started to disperse they were going west on 14th Street. Others ended up coming to 15th, and unfortunately there was that issue with the police vehicle getting smashed. So in terms of right now, I would say that there's like 100 or so people, but earlier there's easily 1,000 or so people, you know, who are out here. A lot of people being very in your face to the police, and I saw that a lot of police officers were trying their best to avoid engaging, and I don't know. It's a tough and tense situation, as it has been for most of the day.
All right, Ron Lee, thank you so much.